Hi everyone, it's Karen from the Geordie Grandma. Welcome back to my channel, and this is another Sunday episode of the Sunday Sunshine Show in collaboration with the Transatlantic Housewives of YouTube, who are Maria from @MariaCrocker, Marie from Busy Bee Marie, and Tina from @Tina's Talk Time. And every Sunday we bring you a specific topic that we talk about, and we all put our different spin on it. So once you've watched mine, you can go and watch theirs. Last week we talked about autumn decor, and I showed you some of the things that I put out for autumn, sort of my coffee station, and my dining table, the tiered tray, things like that. And one of my subscribers, who is also called Karen, kindly emailed me some photos of her own autumn decor, which I thought was really nice of her. So I wanted to show them here. This is what she does. I loved a little coffee tray. She does a windowsill, and she does a fireplace, and I just thought it was really nice, and I thought it was lovely of her to send us those. So if anybody ever wants to, send me anything that they've done, if we're talking about things that are visual or something like that, if you want to send me anything, you're quite welcome to email me at thegeordiegrandma@gmail.com, or if you're on Instagram, feel free to tag us in anything, any pictures you put on there. I am at @thegeordiegrandma on Instagram as well. So yeah, it would be lovely to hear from you. Now this week we're talking about autumn evenings, and as I'm sitting here, it is drizzly outside and it is quite dull, and it just makes you feel like you want to be cozy. So I have my candle on, and I've got some of my autumn decor around us. I'm actually sitting on the floor, so if I'm sitting here too long, I might not be able to get up. So autumn evenings, we want to be cozy. So a couple of things we've done on an autumn evening in the past is we've been to a couple of drive-in movies, which only seem to happen in this area in the autumn. In the winter, for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's that cozy feeling, sort of, snug in the car with your blanket on you, watching a film and eating snacks. And we've went to see the Rocky Horror Show at a drive-in movie, and we've also seen The Lost Boys. I think that was at Halloween a few years ago, and I really enjoyed those. It's just like being at the cinema, but with your own little booth, because you're sitting in your car. So we really enjoyed that. So we kind of recreate that by having our own kind of, not drive-in movie, but it's a car picnic with either a movie or an audiobook, usually an audiobook. And we go out to St Mary's Lighthouse, which is in Whitley Bay in the northeast. I'm just going to put a little clip in here of what it looks like, because it is quite atmospheric. So that's what it looks like, and it's just lovely. We drive to the car park there, and we sit in the car. We take some snacks with us. Occasionally we're getting fish and chips and ate them in the car. Take a flask of coffee, and we sit and watch the sea. And it's just so relaxing, and even if it's raining, it's so atmospheric. And what we do is we take a little speaker along in the car, because our phone... because our car is quite old, my phone doesn't Bluetooth to the radio in it. So I've got a little speaker that I use, and I've got Audible on my phone. So we download some things like stand-up comedies. So we've listened to Michael McIntyre, Peter Kay, Mickey Flanagan, that kind of thing in the car. So something that's not too long, around about an hour, something like that. And we'll just sit in the car, all cozy, eating our snacks and listening to the audio and looking out at the sea. It's really fun. Other things we've listened to include series. So there's Dara O'Brien's Time Wasters series we've listened to in the car. which is Dora talking to a couple of celebrity guests that he's gone on about things they've wasted their time on in the past. And I think one I listened to recently, I can't remember the name of the woman who was on, but she was saying one of her wasted times is when she's watching a TV series, instead of skipping over the intro of each episode, she re-listens to the intro again. So, some of them are like a minute long, so you've lost loads of time listening to the same intro over and over again. But she said that was her biggest time waster. It's quite an interesting, I suppose it's like a podcast. It's quite an interesting podcast to listen to. I also noticed on Audible there is Richard and Judy's book club, where I think there's over 130 episodes of that to listen to, where they have an author on each episode who talks about maybe their recent book and the inspiration behind what she's been talking about in the book, or he's been talking about in the book. I noticed there was one with Ruth Jones recently, so I'll need to listen to that because I really like Ruth Jones. If you don't know who Ruth Jones is, she played Nessa in Gavin and Stacey, and she also writes books, so that would be quite interesting to listen to on your car picnic. If you wanted something a little bit more sort of to get your teeth into, we've also listened to kind of spooky books on our car picnics. So a book called Possession by Peter James is quite atmospheric. I think there was a book called recently that I read, I think it's called The House on Haunted Hill, something like that. I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember the name of it, but that's also by Peter James, which is very atmospheric. And one that we've started and haven't actually finished is Daisy Darker, and it's kind of set on a little island. I think it's beside a lighthouse actually, and it's about a murder, and they're kind of all trapped on this island, which is it was really atmospheric, sitting beside the lighthouse watching the sea, listening to this Daisy Darker book. But we need to finish that. You may have to go on a few car picnics to finish a book if that's what you're going to listen to. If it's a nice enough night, we also go for a walk. Might walk up to the lighthouse if the tide's out. You can walk a little way along the front beside the rocks. Just a nice brisk walk if it's a nice cool evening. That's really nice to do on an autumn evening. And of course, you don't have to have somebody with you to do these things. If you're on your own, you can just take the car out and go and sit there yourself. Find a nice spot wherever you are. If you don't like the sea, find some, country place. You could also, if you didn't want to go out in the car, because looking at the sea, you need it to be a little bit light to do that. So once it starts getting, dark really early, you could actually recreate the car picnic scenario in your own house. So, put a blanket on the floor, or if you can't sit on the floor, cozy up on the settee. Get cozy, have yourself some little snacks out, put your audio book on in the house. You can actually get some really good, if you've got no view to look at, you can get some good views of things on YouTube. So, for instance, I found if you just search for autumn ambience or winter ambience or whatever, I found something called Rainy Autumn Day with Crackling Fireplace on YouTube, and it's basically an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of just a scene. So it's a nice cozy scene of somebody's, it's not somebody's, it's kind of a CGI kind of thing with a roaring fire and the rain in the background, and it just looks cozy. And I also came across one that if you're watching listening to a spooky book, it had like a lake with the rain and like a creepy house in the background. That would be good to have on in the background as you are listening to the audio book. I think these cozy autumn evenings, particularly if you're with somebody, work better with an audio rather than watching something. I know Simon, my son, and my daughter-in-law Hayley have actually done a very similar thing but this is on Halloween, they've actually taken their laptop and sat in the car and watched a scary film, which if you're into that kind of thing might also be something you want to think of. But I prefer the audio because I think when you're listening to something, you kind of concentrate more. And if it's a comedy, you can if you're with somebody, you can laugh together and enjoy that. But, it's up to you. I suppose if you were on your own, you could even take a book. Maybe if you're a couple, you could both take books and sit and read. Maybe you could read the same book and then discuss it. But I just think it's nice to do something different on these, evenings where it is getting a bit more dull and drizzly and you just want to feel cozy. And for me, a car picnic at the coast, looking at the sea, is just my ideal way of spending an autumn evening. So I'd love to know what you do for your autumn evening. Do you do anything specific? Let us know in the comments below. Now that you've watched me and what I'm doing for my autumn evenings, you can go across and watch Marie, Maria and Tina to see what they do for theirs. Again, Marie from Vegas, hers is going to be probably different to ours because it's still going to be hot in Vegas, so I'll be interested to see what she's doing. And also Tina and Maria as well. I'm interested to see what they do because, like I've said before, we discuss what topic we're going to talk about, but we don't usually tell each other exactly what we're going to say, so it's always a surprise to us as well. So next Sunday we're going to be talking about autumn walks. On Tuesday coming, I've got the collaboration with Just Janie, and that is a scrapbook collaboration. We're going to do some autumn themed scrapbooking. That's on Tuesday. And Thursday, I think it's things I found interesting when I walked around IKEA recently. So that should be fun. So I hope you tune in again and watch those ones. If you're new to my channel and you haven't already subscribed, it would be lovely if you could. It does boost me a little bit in YouTube's eyes if somebody subscribes. And if you like that video, give us a thumbs up. And I hope to see you again soon. And don't forget to leave us comments below because I love to hear from you. So that's all I've got for you today. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.